Hi guys, I'm Alice Green and welcome back to the Funky Evolution Party. And today, of course, is Funky Fridays, where I like to kind of reinforce what I've been seeing online, what I've been hearing, and I think what we really need to tackle today, particularly, is consent. What is consent? How we gain consent, why saying no is such an important tool for all of us to learn, and how, as a global community, we can unite. United we stand, divided we fall. Love is the answer that is going to save us all. And that love comes from many different forms. And what I've been seeing is a lot of promotion of hate. Hating women, hating men, hating this, hating that. When in all fairness, if we just stopped using our heads and stepped into our heart frequencies and looked at things from a very different perspective, i.e., it's okay to not like certain things, certain people's opinions, certain people's approaches. However, it is not our job to change our cultures into a standard global cancel culture. Looking at things like consent, Russell Brand and what's happened to Russell is ridiculous. He was in that limelight, women were falling at his feet. You can't turn around 10 years later and say, I didn't consent to going to his house, I didn't consent to doing all these things. Actually, when you don't say anything, you are consenting. And this is where we need to get sort of the lines clear in terms of consent isn't just a sexual consent. It's not, have we consented to our democracy, our freedoms, and our rule of law being diminished by people that are unelected? I haven't. I'm pretty sure you guys haven't either. And this is where saying no. So I really want to get into also the voice of Parliament in Australia, because this is where we need to get a ruler out and start drawing straight lines instead of lines that go all over the shop, looking at where we are in 2023, not 1923, a beer hall in wherever. I'm gonna take over the world, and you're not gonna eat meat, and you're not gonna do this, and you. Well, actually, no, I haven't done anything. These are my ancestors, and I am not to blame for my ancestors. All I can do, which, to be fair, I feel very sorry for German people. I love a lot of them. I've got lots of German friends who are really good. Their kids are raised brilliantly. However, because of the wars, they have suffered quite a lot, and it's not their fault. What we all need to do globally is acknowledge the past about dictators, or as I like to call them, dictators, how they are still in power today, and how it is our duty as a global society to stand up and say no. No more division. No more using our taxes to fund wars that don't exist, and money laundering and drugs and child trafficking, because this is something that is still very predominantly there, and we are going after people like Russell Brand, who has done nothing with younger people. It's all been adults, consenting adults, who then turn around and say, and I've seen this a lot where women use it as a power trip. It's not a power trip. We need to unite, okay? Not remain divided, attacking each other, cancelling each other. I won't shag you. Oh, man, you cry. Let's cancel you too. Actually, what is that all about? Looking at our culture, or cultures globally, this cancel culture that is slowly, and I say strangling like bindweed, coming in. It is like a witch hunt, and we are not modern day witches. This is a global community who can clearly see, based on facts, not fiction, that if we continue to remain silent, that is consent. by you not calling people out and saying, hey, wait a second, there is another spin on this, you are part of the problem. It is us who need to say, I'm not giving you my money for you to rob me blind daily. And this is the biggest thing, is that we keep our mouths shut, we let them get on with it, we say this, we say that, but what about the unelected group of the world who are trying to enforce, drug overdoses, as I'd like to call them. Let me give you a flu one, and let me give you this, and let me give you that, and then all of a sudden our entire systems are crashing, and this is not, it's getting younger and younger. So when we're talking about consent, it's particularly for our children who, before 18, you can't get a tattoo, you can't drink, you can't do X, Y, and Z, but hey ho, you can do all these other things that are actually, there needs to be more clearly, again, defined lines on how we protect our kids in schools, out of schools, online, offline, and stop putting the blame onto adults who actually aren't doing anything, like Russell, for example, maybe in the past, but as any reformed offender has proven, and this is proven by facts, he's now married, he's now in a monogamous relationship, he now has children. If that was his past, he will not re-offend in the future because he has seen the errors in his ways. And this is where I need people to get clear. We look at the church, right? Preach, 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 while they're all getting busted with sex workers. What is that about? What are you actually consenting to? Because it's not just sex, it's not just politics. You are consenting to being robbed daily, like the rubbish that's piled up by not being sustainable. Like, these are things that are dying in my fridge that I will replant and will regrow. And it's about looking at our immediate environments, thinking globally and acting locally, what you can do on your doorstep. And that is not by paying a flying tax, by these people that are trying to dictate to you are flying jets, have yachts, have all of these, are part of the carbon emissions, selling our land for their personal pockets while people starve, and then turn around and say, this is your fault. Actually, I won't take responsibility for that. I will take responsibility for my actions and what I do today. And when I say no, it means no. I don't, oh, no, and then all of a sudden I'm down the rabbit hole, and then turn around and say, oh, well, I didn't consent. You went down the rabbit hole. That was your decision and your choice. So taking accountability for our actions, trying to pass the blame onto others, having standing ovations in Parliament to, like, come on. Accountability is key to ensuring that you are consenting or not to the things that are happening around you. It is essential that you understand how to say no, i.e. I will not allow this to divide us. Going back in terms of Australia, you can't say there was no consent. You consented to migrants coming in and building that country, and now you're going to turn around and say, oh, well, we expect X, Y, and Z. Go to South Africa, where there's such a class divide, where you've got people living in tin sheds, and there is no democracy, and there is no freedom, and it literally is like there was just a massive flood that's wiped out loads of people's homes. Why haven't we heard about that? Oh, that's not important. Let's hear about Russell Brand. Let's hear about Lawrence Fox, all getting cancelled by women, right? For what? As a power trip? This is not a power trip. This is the global stage where we make decisions for the future of this planet. We can't fix the past. It happened. All we can do is look at where power was taken in the wrong context and how we can give that power back to individuals. Individually, we are all powerful. Then when we unite, we are a global force to be reckoned with. Now, massive shout out to Christina Anderson, please, I can't stress how much her speeches have been, what's the word to use? Like, just, that's what global leadership is. It's about saying, I'm not scared of you. I was elected to fight for the people, and that's what we're going to do. So, all I ask of you is to look at areas of your life where you're like, I didn't consent to that. Actually, by keeping your mouth shut, you have consented to that. By not standing up and saying no, using strong facts to counter the fiction, you are part of the problem. So, please, consent to sharing this video. Consent to not allowing the giants to crush us by standing up saying, wait a second, I work really hard, and for what? So then I'm treated like the problem? You're not the problem, I'm not the problem. There is a group, a very small group of people. We are power in numbers. So let's do this. Let's actually stand up and fight. Please like, share, and get the message out there. Oh, and subscribe.